Hello, Dissectomaniacs. It is one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers, the Macho Mandrew, here to tell you about my very exciting new web series called Who the F Are These Guys? That's EFF. You can find us on YouTube at Who the F Are These Guys? EFF. Our pilot premiered October 15th, and we also have an Indiegogo campaign that is linked there as well. We also have Twitter, which is Who the F Show, all one word, again, EFF. We have a Facebook page, Who the F Are These Guys? And we are on Instagram at Who the F Are These Guys, all one word. If you like the pilot and you want to throw a few bucks our way, we have a lot of really cool rewards ranging from social media shout-outs to t-shirts to calendars to all kinds of things. It's a really great queer web series that's light and fun and relatable to everyone, but allows people who might feel marginalized to feel represented in a new way.
Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers. And with me, as always, is my tag team partner, a man who, until fairly late in his life, was covered in a red, blue, and yellow body fur, the Macho Mandrew.
Andrew Lano. And that's just such a lie to the point, like, I don't have any body hair. Like, it's just a thing I deal with.
You have a faint whisper of a mustache.
I mean, no, the mustache is legit. But, like, I can't tell you how many times people have been like, oh, do you, like, wax your chest? I'm like, no.
I'm just a tiny baby boy, that's all.
Just nothing happens.
Like, oh, are you like 18, or is there like something about this very child?
I shave my face and I go from like I'll have a gin and tonic to like I'll have one alcohol, please.
I'll have a cold milk in a dirty glass.
Exactly.
Was that Little Rascals? What shitty kid movie was that?
I don't know. It sounds like a Rugrats thing.
No, it's a real like live. Anyway, it's not important. If you know the answer, tweet us at Dissect the 80s. This week is the release of Thor Ragnarok, which I have some thoughts about, but I guess
have you seen it?
No. I couldn't.
Oh.
I
didn't know it came out. I forgot.
It comes out November 2nd when the week that this podcast comes out, which is, yeah.
I was like, did you get some kind of screener and you didn't tell me?
Yes, I saw it 3 weeks in advance. No, a movie I'm excited about, but the moment that I saw creepy weird Jeff Goldblum in the trailer, I knew what we were tying our episode into, and so we hit, perhaps Thor notwithstanding, the peak of creepy weird Jeff Goldblum.
That's true.
Earth girls are easy. Earth girls are easy. Earth girls are easy. So you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your nail salon. Something's gotta be about your nail salon.
When the Mega Powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott.
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega Powers, yeah.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
That was hilarious. You couldn't plan that.
Like, there's the formula. Okay, I'll just go again. No, okay, it's not.
So to tie in with Cate Blanchett Ragnarok.
Yes. I'm really excited for that. I don't want to talk about this for like 8 hours, but like, I know you disagree, but I have gotten to the point where I'm a little bit tired of the Marvel formula, and the ones that interest me are the ones that I can tell are going to be kind of twisting away from it. Even Guardians of the Galaxy 2 felt very Marvel formula-y.
I've kind of fallen off the like see them all wagon.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I saw Civil War because I love Captain America. He's like my number one dude. I'm really pumped for this, and I am super pumped for Black Panther in February. The new trailer dropped today, and it's awesome.
I didn't watch it, but I intentionally didn't watch it because I know I'm going to go see it, and I'll just enjoy it more if I just go in blind. But
that's how I'm with Stranger Things season 2. I watched the first trailer. I was like, nope, we're done. That's it.
The thing I will say about Stranger Things is almost all of the campaign ads have been no new footage, but cut in reference to some 80s thing, which I've been really enjoying. They did a Friday the 13th trailer for Friday the 13th.
Oh, awesome.
That was the classic, like, 1, 2, 3, the original Friday the 13th trailer with like the bodies. Yeah. So they did that. They did like a Ghostbuster-y thing. They keep doing like very quintessentially 80s stuff, but it's just like recutting. I mean, there's probably new. You could probably cut the little pieces of new footage out of it and put a thing together, but overall, it's not like, oh, here's a bunch of plot. It's more like, here's some vignettes and also this, quirky thing. But I'm with you. But I've been kind of fatigued. I have Marvel fatigue, I think, is how I would describe it. I think if I went to a doctor, they'd be like, look, you've got the Marvel fatigue. Like, that Spider-Man Homecoming movie came out, and I didn't. I got no time. I saw, like, how many fucking Spider-Mans do we need? Just, like, how many? How many Spider-Mans?
I think this is the 6th Spider-Man.
Yeah, and this is the 3rd different Spider-Man within the Spider-Man movies, and it's like, I just don't have the patience
Spider-Man the
for
third,
it.
if you will.
Yeah, and I just don't. And the other thing, I know everybody says I'm wrong about this, but that trailer is just, Spider-Man is Tony Stark Jr., and he's like putting on a Tony Stark outfit and zapping all over the place, and I couldn't possibly care. So maybe I'll see it on the Blu-ray or whatever at home or when it's on Netflix, but I've kind of lost interest. So I was really excited to see the Thor trailer because the Thor trailer excited the hell out of me. It's weird and comedic and goofy, and it's directed by a very talented director who I like a lot of his movies. So I'm excited to see what that turns into.
The only thing I don't love is that the first trailer felt kind of like a 90s high school, made a bed on a girl movie. Like, it literally
Exactly why I liked it.
But, like, I don't know. To me, that felt like too extreme of a departure. Like, I understand, like, breaking away, but I was like, this is not, like, 10 Things I Hate About Thor. Like, Cate Blanchett
I would be so here for that movie. I would so be here for 10 Things I Hate About Thor. Are you
beautiful
kidding?
hair.
I think it's because he's tired of wearing the wig.
Oh, I guess. Although it wasn't a wig in the first one.
No, but after that, there's no way he was growing that and keeping that hair and maintaining and all the stuff you have to do to keep that quality of hair.
It's just what's a lace front among friends.
But I have no problem with them getting goofy with it. Like, I love the fact that a Thor movie started with, I guess you're wondering how we got here. That was so good to me. That was like oh, give me a big bowl of that.
But then Cate Blanchett happened, and I was like, I'm here. You got me back.
You know that bowl you have back in the kitchen that you mix, like, the big salad for the day in? I want my Thor movie in that bowl. And I'll just eat it at my leisure. Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. And also, the best line in that trailer where he's like, we're friends from work, was apparently suggested on the day by a Make-A-Wish kid who was visiting the set, which is just like the coolest thing. That kid has really good comedic timing. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. Apparently they were like, the kid was, visiting set and doing all that entails, and he was like, oh, he should be excited because they're friends from work or something to that line, and they ended up putting it in the movie, which is just delightful.
That warms my heart.
Anyway, we should talk about this movie.
Should we, though?
I was on board with this until, like, pretty late in it, I will say.
Yeah, that's a valid critique.
So we start off with some very cool space paintings, and there's a spaceship flying through space. A lot of 80s
digital effects.
Yes. And some magic light.
And what looks like 3 different colored Grinches.
Yes, that's really good is what it is. Here's the thing. This movie was either in the regular rotation on either HBO or Comedy Central in the early 90s, mid 90s. So I feel like I had seen this movie a bunch, but there's a bunch of things that I just do not recall. Like the fact that it's a musical for a bunch of part of it.
Yeah, I didn't know it was, in the loosest terms, a musical.
Well, it's weird. Like, we've had this conversation a lot regarding musicals where I personally think the dividing line is if the songs advance the plot. And so this kind of does.
I don't know. Okay, again, we always disagree because a musical song doesn't necessarily have to advance the plot. There are what I refer to as 3 o'clock numbers where, like, it's 3 o'clock, now let's sing a song about 3 o'clock.
So that's a valid point, but I would say, like, in general, whether, like, if it's a thing can either be a musical or a movie with a bunch of music in it, and I think if any of the songs advance the plot, you go to musical territory. Like, to me, Blues Brothers is absolutely a musical, and people get crappy about this, but there's, like, 3 distinct points in that movie where the songs advance the plot of the film.
Wasn't there a musical stage show of that in Universal?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
they still drive the car around.
Yeah. But, okay, so using your criteria, what what movie doesn't count as a musical but still has singing in it?
Almost Famous.
Okay.
And any movie about like a fictional band that's like hardcore about the band. There are others that I'm not thinking of right off the top of my head. But I think like it's like a gray area, and I'm willing to entertain differences. But to me, if any of your songs are like plot driven, then you become a musical versus a movie with a lot of music in it.
Okay, that's a fair distinction. I didn't think about Almost Famous, but that makes sense.
So they're on this spaceship. We got a blue guy, a green guy, and a red guy that are played by not in order, Jeff Goldblum, Jim Carrey, and Damon Wayans, which is a really good cast of people to play space aliens, I would like to say.
Yeah, that's crazy. So this was before In Living Color, right?
I think In Living Color was like very early 90s, so I want to say 91-ish.
So this was like right before then.
Yeah, double check me because I'm not 100% sure.
So it says both Wayans and Carey went to star in Living Color a year later.
Yeah, so the reason why this movie got to be a big deal is because Jim Carrey became like the biggest star in the world between 1992 and 1995, and people were like, what else has this guy been in? And this is one of them. And I will say, since we've covered this exact kind of movie before with that awful Adam Sandler movie, Going Overboard, is that what it's called? Going Overboard? Yeah. Like,
It's
this
short.
at least
No, wait.
is...
That might be I can't remember which one is the Goldie Hawn movie and which one is
I
the
think
Adams.
that's just Overboard. I think
Okay.
Goldie Hawn is just Overboard.
Overboard.
Yeah.
Okay.
In any case, it's very similar where you can kind of see some flashes of young talent, but it is interesting that both Damon Wayans and Jim Carrey went to work together and were in Living Color in much better roles than this. But they do work as like the goofball duo in this as well.
It really works fairly well. I definitely feel like they were not like the three of them weren't friends. I think Damon Wayans and Jim Carrey were like friends, and Jeff Goldblum was just there.
Jeff Goldblum came off set and just chain smoked cigarettes and listened to like the Smiths or the Sex Pistols or something. Like I just don't think
What's
he
this,
was
a script about a dinosaur park? Sure.
Yeah,
Get me outta here.
You got a script about dinosaurs? Dinosaurs?
Big pile of shit.
There's two bands here in Baltimore. I've never heard either of their music, but one of them is called One Big Pile of Shit, and the other one is called You Bred Raptors. And I've always
God.
like enjoyed the goofy name. Yeah,
I love that.
I think they were like thrown together for a
Competing
Jurassic
bands?
Park special show. Yeah, I think it was like I don't think they're a touring band or anything. But anyway, so those are the three guys, and they're on this alien ship. We don't know what they've been doing in space or where they're going or what their supposed mission is.
You say that as though we know things about them, though.
Well,
like,
we later find out the
way-
name of their planet.
The way you say that, you're like, so we don't know this, but we do know this. And
well, we know
don't.
they want to meet babes.
Okay, sure.
This is what this movie is. You took your standard 1980s babe comedy, and I apologize if people don't like that word, but it is a very specific type of film I'm referring to here that is like,
Grossly misogynistic.
yes, really, really terrible to women, and is like entirely for 14-year-old boys. Like the whole point of it is, let's see how many women in bikinis we can put into this, and we'll do some like winky winky sex jokes and like bim bam boom, clap your hands, we call it a day, we got a movie.
Now we've replaced those with car chases and call them Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, exactly. We just appeal to a different part of 14-year-old boy brain. 14-year-old boy brain still rules cinema. I don't know if you guys know this, but unfortunately, that is the truth.
It does. So, did you know what other actresses were considered for the Gina Davis role?
No, do tell.
So they really wanted a big box office name, so they asked the likes of Madonna, Molly Ringwald, Daryl Hannah, and Elizabeth Shue.
Totally see Madonna having been in this movie.
I think I could see Madonna more as the friend.
I mean, that would have been the better casting, yes, but I could totally see a version of this movie where it's Madonna. The other three or two that you named, I don't know that I think
No,
make
three.
a whole
Molly
like,
Ringwald, Elizabeth Shue, and Deborah and Daryl Hannah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy any of them. I actually think Gina Davis is really good in this.
I
Like,
would buy Elizabeth Shue.
I mean, I'd buy Elizabeth Shue in pretty much anything, but I'm just saying, like, the logical... I think they picked the best of those people to play a woman smitten by an alien.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've like forgot how good. Like I just watched Beetlejuice the other day, which we need to cover on the show. I think at some point if we can. And I was like,
Well,
oh,
Beetlejuice 2 is coming out in the next year or two, so it's a perfect time to do it.
theoretically, we're holding out.
I
Just
still
like we're
say
in
that
for
if
that
you're gonna
garbage
do a-
Heather show.
I still say if you're gonna do a Beetlejuice sequel, you have to do the one that they tried to get Kevin Smith to write in like 1996. Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
I do like that. Or do the original script, and it's super dark and horrifying.
Yeah, yeah. So this Gina Davis is like passed out asleep and clearly is not intended to go to sleep. There's like crap all over her bed. And then this guy comes home who I really recognize and I forgot to look up. What is he from? Because he's definitely very familiar to me. Maybe a TV show.
Oh my god, he's in Hocus Pocus.
Aha! Okay, I knew I recognized
I
him.
didn't
He's the
know
dad,
he-
right? That's a quick trip down, by the way. Isn't Hocus Pocus like 93?
Yeah.
So 5 years after this, he was playing like warm, cuddly, dumb dad. That's a quick. That usually only happens to actresses in Hollywood.
Yeah,
And Andrew broke everything.
my phone fell and made a loud noise.
Also, I'm sorry. I think of this every time we do the podcast, and I've never mentioned it before. You do this with an open door behind you, and I'm so conditioned from horror movies that, like, one of the times we're doing this podcast, a murderer is going to be behind you, and it's going to be the worst thing ever.
Yeah, no,
Just so you know.
I've definitely felt that way before.
It's like, and I don't think it'd be better if you shut the door, because I would just be waiting for you to, like, sign off, and then you open the door and you get murdered. So, like, at least now I
I'm
can be like,
"Oh,
look out!
hang on, I need to go get some water, and you'd watch me open the door and get stabbed.
Yeah, Jason was there. So I just like it's we're recording this in October, so I'm in full on Halloween mode, Halloween season.
We
movie.
should take a screen grab and post my setup.
Yeah, just like, oh boy, this is dangerous looking. As you might, as regular listeners might have figured out, when we do a lot of talking about not the movie, not the best movie in the universe.
Okay,
So anyway.
it's hard to qualify because there's a lot of good things going on, but then there's a lot of I don't know what's happening right now weirdness.
Yes,
And not in the fun way, in just a like I am confused.
It feels like a movie that had two different directors, and they cut the movie together after they both were done, and were like, whatever, good enough.
Yeah, that feels accurate.
So anyway, the dad from Hocus Pocus comes home. Gina Davis is asleep, and she wakes up when he gets into the house, and immediately you can tell this dude has been cheating on her, which is like, we're 5 minutes into this movie, and already I hate this guy. That's really quick.
Yeah. So she's wearing a white dress and a veil. And she's like, you're not supposed to see me in this before the wedding. And I was like, that's her wedding dress? Are you serious? And
I didn't.
It's just the veil. Turns out she was just wearing the veil.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I was like, I did not read that as wedding dress. It's funny that you did.
Well, because it was a white dress.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I was like, oh, it's just her shapeless nightgown that just looks like a circus tent.
So she starts putting the moves on this guy, and he immediately is like, I gotta play golf in the morning. I'm too tired. And if you're getting turned down for golf,
No, it was surgery.
TTMFA.
It was surgery. Let's at least.
Are
give
you
him the-
sure?
Yeah, he said I have some kind of a surgery in the morning. Like he's
Are you
he's
sure?
a garbage dirtbag, but like that is a legitimate reason to not have sex.
I wrote down golf.
I don't know why you wrote down golf. It's definitely
Did I make
surgery.
this up? Okay.
Yes, it's 100% surgery.
Is it like gallbladder surgery? And then
That
my
sounds
brain
right,
broke?
maybe.
I swear you said
I think
golf.
it is. I actually think it is gallbladder.
Okay, because I wrote down golf, and I was like, if you're getting turned down for someone to play golf in the morning, DTMFA. Okay, get him out. Dump that mother effing a-hole. Get rid of him.
Deal breaker.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker, ladies.
So she goes to her job in an amazing outfit.
Everything about it is great. She's got those tiger striped nails that look like the 90s soda cups.
Yeah, the like swirlies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great. Gina Davis and her friend Candy have a lot of them. Like only wear great outfits. But the shop she works at is called Curl Up and Dye, DYE, and I
Yeah.
love wordplay.
And I love that as she enters, there's this old lady like walking her way out, and she holds the door. She's like, "I'm so sorry, I missed her appointment." And the old lady's like, "That door's a real bitch.
Yeah, just unfazed.
She's my everything." So
I mean,
the other girls at the salon have like just the craziest nails. They're like 18 feet long. They look like that guy from the Guinness Book of World Records, except they're like plastic and multicolored. It's really kind of
like-
horrifying.
It's like a weird Freddy Krueger situation going, but like fierce.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so she pours her heart out to her friend and is like, "All right, he won't. It's been 2 weeks since we had sex. He won't touch me, and blah blah da da da. And I think he wants another woman." And then the best friend is like, "Oh, we'll just make you another woman." And she turns on this computer.
I
and it is
love
the best.
everything about it.
She's like tapping the keys, and it's like, now she has short hair, now she has blonde hair, and she's like, "Oh, and we'll give you blue contacts." And they hit a button, and these like horrifying glowing blue circles go over her eyes.
Because it's like MS Paint. It's like they clicked the button to paint an MS Paint on her eyes. So it's not a human color. It's just a flat
Yeah.
blue.
It is so horrifying. And
It
it's
reminds
just,
me
I
of
just
in
love it.
Clueless when Cher is picking out her outfits in the morning, and it's like the really big white plastic Apple computer that's like click click bloop, click click
Yeah.
bloop, and it's like
Yeah.
swiping through outfits for her.
Yeah, it's pretty delightful. And also, not for nothing, but a full makeover a month before your wedding is a bold choice.
It is. Although a friend of mine literally got a pixie cut the day of her wedding. She had long hair, didn't tell anyone. She was like, my husband looked down the aisle at me, and his face was like, "What? Oh, I like it, but what?"
Yeah, that's a bold choice. That's a bold decision to make.
But we get
even
an
a month.
amazing song and dance routine.
Well, we get like a perfect. This I think is the perfect distillation of an outfit montage, which is a standard movie trope. I don't know that there's a better outfit montage than this. Huh. The song is sung about her changeover. It's not just like, there's always some real cheesy knockoff song. Like they're like, we want it to sound like, this band, but it not be that band. And then the lyrics are kind of about changes. This is definitively like Gina Davis getting a makeover. Like it's lyrics about what's happening to her as
That's
she
a fair
scrolls
point.
through outfits. And they're like, it's, sexy S&M woman. She slaps a whip. And then it's like, police woman or whatever. And they just like roll through all these outfits of her.
It is very fun. It feels like Halloween costume shopping montage.
Yes, absolutely it does. And she really does look totally different when they put her in the outfit and the wig, and she's got like lingerie on.
She
Waiting
super
for the...
does. I was
Yeah.
I was like, why wouldn't they just give her a wig in the first place? Like, you work in a hair salon. I'm sure there's a wig in there.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, has Gina Davis? I was like, I don't think I've ever seen Gina Davis in not like brunette redhead hair.
Yeah, no, I haven't either. And then she's like flipping through this book about how to get your man excited about you, and it says put perfume on a light bulb, and I'm instantly like, that's really dangerous. Why is that advice in a book?
Maybe it meant like a spritz or a sprinkle.
I still feel like you shouldn't put moisture on a bulb. Like it's glass that's very hot.
Yeah, that's the idea. It'll heat and dissipate into the room.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to get hot things made of glass wet. They blow up.
Well, again, I think a small spritz, but you missed the important thing, which said you needed sensual oil. And did you see what she had on the table?
Was it cooking oil?
It was Wesson cooking oil.
I missed that joke. All right. She also, when the light bulb does catch fire, attempts to put it out with a canister of whipped cream, which like the best
works.
friend character. Well, it does, but it would also smell like death. The best friend
God.
character, yeah, hot, unwhipped cream. Like, get out of here with that. The best friend character is really kind of super dumb, like written to be a total dingus, like basically barely able to function. And Gina Davis acts that dumb in this scene.
Yeah, it's a weird turn for her because nothing before and nothing later will be the same about that.
Right. So this dude brings another woman home, and she's hiding in the closet, and he's like, I'll be right back. And he goes into the other room, and some shenanigans happen, and Gina Davis ends up popping out to surprise him, except, oops, it's the woman he's brought home to cheat on her with in their bed together.
What? Like, what? Dude, in your own home? Have you no shame?
Scumbag. Get a shitty hotel like the disgusting blob that you are.
Or, I don't know, you're a doctor and rich. Literally anywhere.
But here's my biggest problem with this scene. He goes into the bedroom and he comes out wearing like scrubs and like a comically oversized stethoscope, and he's like, Dr. Love is here. This stethoscope is Groot sized. Like Andre the Giant would look comical with this thing. It's why is that
It's
is
a
your
visual
sexy
gag,
doctor?
really.
But, like, why is that part of your sexy doctor out? Put your regular fucking stethoscope on, you dingus. Like, what are you doing? It's a Carrot Top joke.
But we do get another one later, and I was 100% here for it. We'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah. So she gets mad at him, obviously, and starts going after him. And then she pops a champagne cork at him. And I would normally say that's a very dangerous thing to advocate in this movie. But I don't think it's quite as dangerous as putting the perfume on the light bulb. So it seems like it's fine.
Or anything else she does in the song she sings after he leaves.
Yeah.
She does some like she-devil level destruction on a house she still lives in. I didn't get it.
And doesn't appear to... Like, it appears to be all his stuff.
Pretty much, yeah.
But, like, I mean, let me rephrase. It appears to be, like, his house that she's a guest in and not their house.
I thought it was their house.
Okay. The house is decorated like bachelor pad doctor douche and not like couples.
Okay, fair enough.
There's a next door neighbor that's really nosy, and they have her like leaning out the window with one of those little kid radar dish hearing cannon things, which is delightful.
She looks like a Far Side cartoon.
Oh man, that's so good. The beehive hairdo and everything.
Yeah, she's got a tall ass beehive, glasses, and a listen-in radio.
And so he drives away. She's cursing him out, and the old lady like has her thing and gets like blasted by blasted by the sound.
Gina Davis yelling at her.
Yeah. And then Gina Davis goes inside and starts singing a song. She dumps champagne into the fish tank, which I was
That's
like, oh, the
not
fish
good
are all
for
going to
your
die.
fish.
Well, no, I thought they were all going to be dead. And then it was like, nope, no ill will, just like, casual fish. I guess they're all drunk fish.
Yeah, why not? But her outfit for this whole scene, this like seduction and song scene, is amazing. It's this like light pink like corset lingerie with garter belt. It's a full outfit with the blonde wig, and she genuinely looks like you wouldn't think that was Gina Davis upon first inspection of the scene.
No, absolutely not. There's also a flashback where he's grilling by the pool and talking to his doctor friends, and like everybody's yucking it up. And they have a charcoal grill. The wheels are 2.25 inches from the lip of a pool. Like, who set this grill up? What madman was like, you know what I want to do? I want to be on the most slippery surface next to a body of water with the food for the party. That seems like a great idea.
That's what I want. And then, of course, it goes in the pool, and he gets angry at Gina Davis and falls in.
But it's the pre-cell phone era, so you don't have to worry about like a
Every time
$70,000 device.
I had that thought, I was like, "Oh God, his phone!"
Because, like, I'll be honest, in the days where it didn't cost someone $1,000 to replace going into a pool, kind of an okay thing.
Our official stance on pranks is that we don't support pranks, but
Yeah. But like knocking your buddy into the pool, assuming he's not wearing like a tuxedo at his wedding in the pre-cell phone era, seems like fine. Like, you're at a pool party, right? It's not like it's not like you don't often go near a pool with no intention of getting into the pool at all. Like it's a pretty minor prank.
I would agree with that. But so Gina goes on a she-devil rampage and puts a box of cigars into the VCR. She takes a golf club to his like cologne and glass shelves. She throws his prized football into the fireplace.
No, she puts the football into a microwave.
Oh, football goes in the microwave. A record goes into the
Yes.
thing. A pocket watch goes into the garbage disposal, and then it ends with her setting up 2 skis in front of an ancient computer and rolling a bowling ball into their prenup.
It's also weird because the hair salon has a much nicer computer than the doctor does.
Yeah, that's true. Although I guess like a home computer versus because their home computer is more the black and green.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know what you would whatever the opposite of a fixing stuff up montage, which is like an 80s staple. That's what this is. It's a destructive
breaking
montage.
stuff down.
Yeah. So there's a television program narrated by Robin Leach where he's like, inner beauty is for losers. Check out these hot babes. And then it turns out it's not Gina Davis watching, but the aliens are. And they're like, I want to see those Earth babes. And so they have like a scuffle and then smash into the controls of the spaceship, which starts plummeting to Earth. And we didn't touch on it yet, but the interior design and frankly exterior design of the spaceship is straight out of Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
And I'm okay with it. It looks great.
Yeah, no, I totally loved it. I thought it was awesome. It's really, really cool design. So they crash into Gina Davis's pool after this big fight, and she goes out to see what's going on and climbs into the pool and starts swimming, and she smashes her head on the viewing window of this pool
Because she thinks the UFO is a figment of her imagination.
Yeah,
So she's just going to swim through it, and then she hits her head. And then there's a really clever workaround for why the model ship looks so small and the people aren't. So they stand on a platform inside the ship, and then they grow extra big, and then you see an actual sized human climb out the top of it, which is I think is a really smart way to write that into your script of like, that's why looks like this.
It is, but later when they're working on the ship with wrenches and stuff and drying it out with hair dryers and everything, it doesn't appear to be the wrong scale.
What do you mean?
Like, it seems like it's the right scale ship for the size person that they are. Exterior-wise, anyway.
Exterior, sure.
Okay. So they have like a whole conversation in the ship of like trying to figure out what's happening and who's who and what's going on. And she eventually is like, all right, look, I'm going to invite you guys to my house and make you something to eat. So they do their Mario magic mushroom grow and climb out of the ship. And the old lady is like nosily watching all of this next door, which is really wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And her first thought is, I should drain the pool to get your ship out. And I was like, that's weird, but okay.
It would have been better if she also wanted to like fill it up with rice.
Oh my god, I like that. Although I
like had to dry it out.
I guess like electronics getting wet and still being usable is kind of new at that. Like it's not really a thing at that point, right?
No. Her analog for it is a razor, I believe.
Yes. And one of the things she said she could feed them is a Pop-Tart, all natural. And I was like, all natural Pop-Tarts? I don't even know if those are a thing today. And then we get not a song, but it is a very musical montage of all three aliens sort of exploring and understanding what Earth is. And Gina Davis calls her pool guy to come.
Mostly
fix her
through
pool.
Appliances. It's mostly through appliances that they learn what Earth is. Like, if we're being honest here.
Yeah, it's a lot of like banging on stuff and like playing the water glasses.
They're basically doing Stomp and the Blue Man Group, I believe.
Yes, that is 100% what's happening.
She calls the pool guy. Sorry to step on that there.
And he shows up, and he's a classic California surfer.
Played by Michael McKean, by the way.
What would I know him from?
This is Spinal Tap. I believe he does a bunch of voices on The Simpsons. He's in the Rob Reiner Club, like a lot of his movies.
Oh.
On Better Call Saul right now, he's playing the brother.
I'm unfamiliar with that one. Let me take a look at what he's done real quick, see if anything jumps out. Oh, he was in Best in Show.
Yeah, he's in all of the like Rob Reiner spoofy stuff.
Very nice. So he shows up and is like, "What's that in your pool?" And she's like, "It's my pool patio." And she's covered the spaceship with towels and is just laying on it. Like, nothing's weird about this.
Yeah, it's delightful. She's using it like a Barca lounger.
But I also realized that their ship is pretty big for the pool, and it didn't seem to have displaced any water.
That is extremely true, because it sinks all the way to the bottom of this pool.
I was like, why was this yard not a little flooded by this?
There should have been a gag where the neighbor got like smacked with water over the fence and like knocked her over.
It should have been like it should have been crash in the water, big old splash out, cut to the neighbor with her big old radio thing and her headphones looking up and being like, uh-oh, and then water splash.
Yes. Also, I didn't mention this when you were talking about it, but in the montage of them trying to figure out Earth stuff, it cuts to this cool interior shot of Gina Davis's fridge, though basically every shot from every appliance on the show Good Eats, if you're familiar with it, where like the camera is in the appliance.
That is a niche reference, and I'm okay with it.
I mean, it's a pretty popular it's popular enough cooking show that it's being resurrected as an internet
Oh, cool.
television program, so it seems fine.
We also missed discussing how the aliens, which again are full-body fursuits except for their face, when they get out of the spaceship and have to get out of the pool, they're trying so hard to not touch any water.
And not fall. There is a moment where Jim Carrey doesn't look like he's going to make it. They hop like 1-footed to the bank of the pool. So it's about maybe 3.5 feet. It's not a particularly far distance, but there's definitely a moment where his foot lands on the pool deck and it's not quite steady. And he has this flash of fear in his face, and then he steadies himself and he's fine. But it's one of those little micro moments that are like, oh, that should have been edited out of the movie. Like you should have done a cutaway.
Acting.
Yeah. Also, but anyway, I don't think I finished my thought. When they cut to the inside of the fridge, her fridge rack, the stuff where you put the food and whatever goes in your fridge, is circular, so you can like spin it, which seems cool.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
You'd lose so much fridge real estate. Like all those corners that are perfect for like shoving a jar of pickles in or whatever that you like don't need to access very often. Gone. None of that. No pickles in the corner. I'm very concerned about refrigerator real estate.
Although I would really appreciate a Lazy Susan.
Well, that's what it is.
I was putting a bunch of stuff in my fridge the other day, and I was like, I'm going to stack things in the back, and I'm going to have to like rearrange shit to get things out of my fridge. But a Lazy Susan would have handled all of that.
Well, you need Gina Davis's 50s fridge, obviously. Also, they have a montage of them learning. We've said also about 28 times in the last minute and a half.
I always say also a lot.
They're learning English by watching television, and it's a cool montage. But there's a clip from an old movie that I don't know the movie. It's clearly from the 50s or 60s, where the guy's like, "You're tearing me apart."
I thought it was Marlon Brando.
Was it? I didn't. I like heard it and was writing it down and didn't quite. It could have been Brando, but later Jim Carrey's character repeats it because that's what they do. They can mimic things that they hear, which includes noises as well as voices. But that's like the most famous line in The Room. The worst, like one of the most. There's a 0% chance Tommy Wiseau didn't steal that from either this movie or the perhaps Brando movie, that the other one. And I had not realized that was just pulled from something.
But don't
else.
tell him that.
Well, no, his scene is clearly him like basically covering it like a cover song. He has the same facial features, he does the same look on his face, the same thing with his hands. Like it's him doing his cover of that scene.
Yeah, but I feel like isn't he the kind of crazy where like if you implied that at all, he would be like, "No, you're an idiot and you don't understand anything."
I don't know. Every time I read an interview with him, he talks and talks and talks about how much better movies were in the like long ago times. Because I think he's secretly like 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Secretly?
Anyway.
Secretly?
He tells people, like, by the age that he claims to be is like 20. I don't know his real age, but the age he claims to be is like in his 40s now. Like 15 years after The Room, he claims to be in his 40s.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I just got the book, The Disaster Artist, and I've been reading it. I got it from the library. And
that movie looks interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, actually. But there's a bit in the book where he mentions, like, he found out Tommy's real age, and he doesn't disclose it, which I'm like, you son of a bitch.
It should have been Tommy Wiseau's real age is, and then a black bar. Like, redacted.
Yeah, exactly. So Gina Davis is like, okay, these guys have to pass for human. We got to get rid of this fur.
She gets a call from her doctor ex-fiance who's like, "I love you, and I want to come by." And they show him talking on the phone. And he has, like, maybe 3 carnations wrapped in a newspaper, as though that's what he's going to do to win her back. And I was like, if I knew you were that rich and you cheated on me and you came back with those carnations, you can get out, sir.
I wouldn't even open the door all the way. I would
No.
see that in the peephole, and I would open it with the chain still attached, and I would be like, "Goodbye, Ted."
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's
get
my-
out, sir.
But here's the bigger problem: the aliens have fur, and you're just like, I don't know. Let's just take all that off. That seems really dangerous. You don't know if their bodies can handle not being fur covered.
You also don't know what their bodies look like under there.
Right. Yeah, that's true. They could have actually, like, they should have been yellow, red, and blue because the color of your fur is reflective of the skin underneath, from what I understand from biology.
Except polar bears, I
granted.
think.
Well, that was part of the reason I was making that claim. I think that they have a sort of paler skin tone than their brown and black bear counterparts.
Yeah,
Am I just
well,
wrong about animal? I could be
what I-
totally. I am not a biologist.
We do not claim to be scientists in any way.
This is not a scientific program, in case you weren't aware.
What it should have been was like, they should have been like shaved down and been like stick figures. Like their whole
Yeah,
body was
yeah,
like
yeah, exactly,
mostly fur with
exactly.
like toothpicks.
Yeah. So she takes him to the salon and she explains to the friend, like, oh, they're aliens, da 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 da. And the friend eventually is like, fine, I'll take care of this. You go. And then Gina Davis comes back and she's like, all right, time for the reveal. And she's like, I gave this one a surfer look. And out walks like Jim Carrey, blonde hair in a tank top, like looking surfery. And then the other one is like, she's like, and this one's incredible. And she pulls out Damon Wayans. And then he mimics her voice being like, oh my God, you're black. And I was like, well, that's an interesting way to take this. And by interesting, I mean the shittiest.
I was like, wait, no, what? No, why?
Also, it's telling that the only not white person in this movie is a goddamn space alien.
Oh my God, he is the only non-white person.
Yes. And he is a goddamn space alien. This movie takes place in Los Angeles, which is home to a myriad of human beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors. And the only non-white person in this movie is an actual space alien. But then we get the big reveal, and out of the middle canister walks a very sexy Jeff Goldblum.
Okay.
I mean, the people who fawn over Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm with the tank top, with the shirt unbuttoned, like doing the pose.
I'll give-
those
okay,
people.
I'll
Those
give
people
that.
should see this Goldblum, because this Goldblum is way sexier than that Goldblum.
My problem is that
Wait, this is what your problem is, and I'm gonna rip this off like a band-aid because we've been dancing around it for 40 some odd minutes now. The real reason we're doing this movie is because you have the hottest hot take about Jeff Goldblum of all time, and I was waiting for the moment to spring it on you because I want you to reveal this hot take in front of me and all the listeners out there so that you can get your volley of tweets, because I need you to say it now in public on the air.
I just generally, outside of Independence Day and Jurassic Park, the first one, I generally find Jeff Goldblum to be a bad actor. Come at me, bros. If you're going to put any PBR long enough to come at me in your Chuck Taylors.
Somebody with a tattoo of Jeff Goldblum
Doing that
in the
recline from
button-down
Jurassic Park?
Yes, yes, is gonna come whip your ass.
So, like, I realized that in the 80s, Jeff Goldblum's face is very, very skinny, but his eyes are very, very big. And they might still be that way in Jurassic Park, but he wears those tinted glasses the whole time, so it's harder to notice. But I find, like, neck down, I'm on board. Neck up, I'm a little weirded out.
He's just very cut, is all I'm trying to say. He's
super
looking
cut.
very good.
He's just one of those actors that, like, when he works, and when he doesn't, get away from me, you're creepy.
So he comes out of this tank, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's sexy Jeff Goldblum! I know what we need to do. It's time to
Gina
party."
Davis essentially does that scene in The Mask where her jaw hits the floor and her tongue rolls out like a red carpet. Yeah,
What?
that's Gina Davis.
Yeah, it is definitely lust at first sight. Later in the movie, we find out it's more than that, but right now, it's at least lust.
Oh, we missed my favorite line in the whole movie. I'm so dumb. She goes over. She brings the aliens into the salon and goes to her friend, and is like, "Oh my god, I have space aliens here, and we have to take care of them." And some woman who's just in the salon because apparently there's regular customers goes, "I'm sorry, what did you just say?" And Gina Davis goes, "Oh, nothing. I'm on drugs." And the woman goes, "Oh, okay."
My favorite line is right after this scene where they're in the car and Gina Davis says, "I never thought this would happen to me." And her response, the best friend's response is, "What, partying with 3 shaved Martians?"
I love it.
But they're like, "Oh, it's time to go party." And it's like 5 p.m. It's full daylight.
At first, and then it gets dark really quick.
Well, they do that, like, they have the shot of the car driving. She drives a really nice car, by the way. It's a cool old Ford Mustang. And also, Michael McKean has a really cool old wood-paneled car as well.
Yeah, they're
some
awesome.
cool cars in this movie. But it's full daylight, and then they, like, cut down and have a quick conversation with, like, the 3 shaved Martins. The 3 shaved Martians. 3 shaved Martins.
Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Martin Scorsese.
Yes. I would watch that movie.
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
And so they like pan up and it's Jeff Goldblum with like the wind whipping in his hair because they're sitting on the top of the convertible, like not in the seat but on top of it. And then it's like suddenly dusk and then they like cut over and cut away and suddenly it's dark. And I was like, that's more egregious than the tunnel in the Batman movie where it's like everybody always points out, they're like, well, gee, it's broad daylight. And then they zip through this tunnel and suddenly it's pitch dark. It's like,
Which one?
Is that tunnel the one with Bane?
I don't remember that tunnel scene.
So you know the stock exchange bit in Dark Knight Returns?
Oh, that stock exchange
Rises?
tunnel. Yes. That's so dumb.
they have that big fight and it's full daylight because the stock exchange is open, and then they drive through this tunnel and it is like midnight. It's like a time portal.
Never mind
Or
the fact
tunnel-
that any stock exchanges made that day would have been shut down, suspended, and not gone through because there was a terrorist
absolutely.
attack.
Yeah,
As long as we're saying things out loud.
yeah.
Did
So
you
anyway-
know what the her best friend? Do you know what she's from?
I don't.
She plays the gym teacher in Clueless.
Oh, nice. I assume she was like in some horror franchise. Like she seemed like someone who would have been in a Friday the 13th.
No, she's
Or
just
a
apparently
Nightmare.
a really like big comedian of the 80s. And so basically, to put this in perspective, so in 1988, she plays the fun, like sassy, sex positive best friend. In 1995, she plays the old lesbian ugly gym teacher.
I mean, we just talked about the Hocus Pocus guy. It's worse for women, obviously. Hollywood is a terrible place.
Yeah.
So Jim Carrey jumps from the convertible into the back of a Jeep after wooing 4 women by literally repeating their words back to them. And like,
I don't think he's acting in this movie.
Well, you're probably right there. We have talked a lot about how frustrating it is to have like shitty, dumb female characters, and that it does a disservice to everybody. And I'm not going to soapbox here about that whole thing. You know what team we're on. But in this movie, there's a very interesting thing that happens shortly after this, because they get to the club, and the song that the woman is singing is how she likes her men big and dumb, and it's really fabulous. Like, it's so delightful.
Yeah,
that she's just like
a fun song.
Yeah, she's like, the lyrics are on and on about how she just wants them big and stupid and just able to please her sexually.
I wish I could think of other lyrics, but like they were really funny.
Yeah, if I can find the song, I will put it at the end of the episode. Anyway, at the club, the other great moment I like is this one party girl has these Amex American Express earrings, like their credit cards. She's like, "Where'd you get those?" She's like, "Oh, they're my dad's."
Oh God, I love it. They're also giving out condoms at this club.
Yeah, it's like an old 50s cigarette girl. Yeah. And there's just like a variety of styles and everyone's just like grabbing away. But I also like that the inside of this club is like rocking club beats, and then outside on the patio it's just like light jazz piano. No big deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought you were going to talk about the car in the parking lot that has a piano and a candelabra on it.
I missed that. Is it like on top of it?
I think it's like a truck or something, because they park their car and they're like, there he is, and jump out. But they park next to a piano with a candelabra. So I don't know if it's on a car or it's just in the parking lot for no reason. But
that's amazing. Maybe that's like what Liberace drove.
That sounds right. It's powered by his playing.
Yeah, he liked both pianos and candelabras. It seems like right in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So there's like a dance fight happening inside, and outside Jeff Goldblum comes up to the guy playing the piano and is like, "Scram, kid, I got it from here." And he plays just like beautiful jazz, and Gina Davis gets all swoony.
Somehow he knows how to play piano. There's a lot of like, somehow this is a thing. Because like we don't know how alcohol would affect them. So maybe let's not pump them full of liquor.
Yeah, it's bizarre that their first instinct with aliens is to remove their protective fur and then get them drunk and have sex with them. Jim Carrey at one point sticks his tongue into the bottom of a glass to get an ice cube, and his tongue is like, I don't know,
Kiss?
12 inches long. It's way longer than Gene Simmons. And immediately 3 women are like, "I'm going home with him. No, I'm going home with him." And then a third one comes in and grabs his face and is like, "No, I'm going home with him."
It's the best friend character.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
She's the one who grabs his face.
I knew that was her making out with him later, but I somehow missed that was her grabbing his face. I don't
No,
know
she
how I
grabs
didn't
his
put that
face.
connection together. But later when they're done making out, and also you would think aliens would probably not know how to kiss in ways that human women would find satisfactory. One would guess. So she like pulls away. They pull Jim Carrey off of her, and they grab Damon Wayans, who successfully won his dance fight. And they're like, "Come on, we gotta get out of here." And then they're all talking to her and like, What was it like? What was it like?" And she goes, "I want to have his baby," which is like a big leap from a single makeout sesh.
Although that is like a common jokey like, "Oh, he's so hot" phrase.
Yeah, no, I get it. And the thing that I really struck me is, and I know it's a dumb movie, and obviously we can't have a real time movie, but people in 80s movies fall in love so fast. Like if this was a week long montage,
Me off.
yeah, like if there was a week where she was like helping them learn how to be human like and passing, and she kind of like was falling for him over the course of a week, it would be fine. But she has known this guy for like 6 hours.
Not even.
Yeah. And she's all over Jeff Goldblum. So she brings them home, and then the doctor boyfriend comes in with a Julio Iglesias record, which is like a weird way to go to make up with people.
And a different
might be-
bouquet.
Yeah. And he starts looking around for her, and he named all his fish after different cars. Like one is Mercedes and one
Because
is
he's
Benz.
that kind of a-hole.
Yeah, he's the worst nightmare person. Like, Gina Davis, you could do so much better than this.
You could do Jeff Goldblum. You do Jeff
Yeah,
Goldblum, actually.
you do
IRL.
Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. So he calls the police and he's like, "Hello, this is Dr. Gallagher." And I don't know if this, like, is he a famous doctor? Did he like
Or did he
separate
just call
some
the police
conjoined?
that often?
Did he separate some conjoined twins? Like, did he do a successful eye surgery on someone who got like shrapnel from a bomb? Like, who is this person, and why is he able to tell the police like, "Oh, it's Dr. Gallagher"? Like, was he? He's have a tab with the cops? He's like, "Come on down, guys."
I think he calls the police a lot.
It definitely could be that.
So the police show up, and
Well, she has a great
her
great
excuse?
cover when where he's like, "Who the hell are these guys?" And she's like, "Oh, I won a contest with MTV. They're a famous band." That is a really great excuse for on the spot.
yes, and I was like, "Oh, I believe that makes sense. They're weird, they're
Yeah.
quirky, they're eccentric. They only have one name. Yeah,
It's perfect. And we rag on movies a lot for having bad excuses in the moment, so I just wanted to give props where it was due.
Yeah, that's an impressive one." So the cops show up, and it's basically that scene. It feels like that scene in Parks and Rec, where all the cops are like, "Yeah, your basic domestic dispute between husband and wife. Real piece of work. Real piece of work."
Yeah. It's one of my favorite montages on Parks and Rec where the cops are all simultaneously delivering the same line. It just keeps cutting between them, like for between each word.
Oh, I
it's
love
really
it.
great. But also the police instantly listen to a woman and take the guy out of the house, which is a goddamn miracle, especially as we come to find out later how incompetent these two dinguses are. This is a miracle.
Yeah, I was really happy about that because they show up and he's like, "These people are invading my home," and Gina Davis goes, "He actually doesn't live here anymore, and they're my guests." And they were like, "Okay." Dr. Gallagher, who can name drop himself on the phone to the police, just got carted out of his house because Gina Davis said he should leave.
Carted out of his house and threatening to have his arm broken.
Well, that just sounds like par for the course.
Yeah. So she has already thrown him out and been like, the wedding is off. And so when the police are dragging him away, he's like, the wedding's off, which is, the shitty version of that, like, you can't fire me, I quit. It's like, no, dum-dum. First of all, that's stupid because you're getting rid of your severance. And second of all, she already made this decision. You can't take the decision back and
You can't
reclaim
decide
it.
it's your decision. Like, it was her decision.
So Jeff Goldblum moves real fast in on Gina Davis, and apparently is also extremely well endowed, because she's like, oh no, we can't, I couldn't possibly. And she's like, besides, what if our anatomy wouldn't even work? Oh no, it would be fine. It seems like it would be just fine. And then cut to the weirdest sex scene I've ever seen in a movie.
Well, it's because we didn't talk about it, but they have magic happy touch
Yeah, that's right. We did skip that.
that is unexplained and underutilized, like anything else that happens in an 80s movie. But before they have happy touch sex, which just sounds like a weird anime.
Yes, it does. Weird sex that they have also has a lot of glitter in it, which seems like just a bad idea for two naked, sweaty bodies.
Before they have their weird magic happy touch sex, Gina Davis says, "Are you trying to make a pass at me?" And I forgot that was a phrase that people used to say. And do you know where that came from? Like when people started like the word pass to mean like trying to have sex with someone?
No, but it's funny to me that like it didn't occur to you that was what it like.
No, I
it
know
didn't immediately register as like the phrase. Like that phrase doesn't sound odd at all to my ears.
I don't know, like make a pass at someone sounds like so old. Like that sounds like something out of like Bye Bye Birdie.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Like an Archie comic where like he made a pass at her. Like that's what that feels like to me.
Yeah. You're not wrong. So they do it, and there's a lot of glitter and weird nonsense.
And I'm surprised there was no butt.
Yeah, you would think Goldblum would have been like, I won't do this picture unless you see the gold butt.
I
I'm
refuse
sorry,
to put my butt away until it's been on camera.
Yeah. Do you see this thing? Look at this thing. She has this bizarre, amazing black and white alien dream where everyone in the neighborhood is a different alien monster, and it's very much like They Live, where she puts on the glasses and then she can see them all. Rest in peace, Roddy Piper.
It weirded me out because we had never seen aliens look like anything other than the Grinch that we'd seen before. So all of a sudden it was like, oh, now aliens look like this and this.
Well, I think they're supposed to look like the Wolfman in the movie that she's watching, but they definitely don't. They're definitely all sorts of like kind
I
of
saw
creepy
hints of
creatures.
Wolfman.
Yeah. And there's a couple of like your classic gray aliens, big eyes, oval or teardrop shaped head. But yeah, it is weird that there's just suddenly a bunch of alien creatures. But my favorite is when the old lady next door like pops her head up. That's the one that reminded me of They Live, and I was like, oh god, they're all aliens. I kind of loved it.
Yeah, that was amazing. But this is where we got my favorite sight gag, and I have nothing but time for this sight gag, where the phone's ringing. And, like, she's just in a slow state, like, running around in black and white. And the phone rings, and she runs towards the camera and reaches down off camera and picks up what I think might be the biggest phone I've ever seen. Like, it's the size of her.
It's a 5-foot phone, easily.
Yeah. And she's like, it's like, doesn't have a cord. I wish it had a cord. That would have been just like, mwah, like, fingers to your mouth kiss if it still had a cord attached to it. But she's like, hello, Ted, where are you? And it was so preposterous. I loved it.
Meanwhile, Ted is in the room fooling around with an 8-breasted alien.
Eight feels right. Like the correct number.
Yeah. So she wakes up from this weird dream and she's like, oh, let me take like 8 consecutive days worth of birth control at once.
99% sure that's not how birth control works.
Ladies, neither of us are doctors, nor are we qualified to speak on this. But please don't take 8 of your...
Nor do we have any personal body equipment that would lend us to know anything about birth control.
Yes. But I can say this with all the sincerity that I can muster. Please don't take 8 of your birth control pills simultaneously on just like a Tuesday because you had sex with Jeff Goldblum. Like in that specific instance where that has happened.
Use your Jeff Goldblum birth control.
Yeah. That's why I have these. And cut to my giant birth control pill that is like the size of a pizza, and you have to
He's
like
Jeff
chew
Goldblum,
on it.
and I'm not pregnant, and we're gonna keep it that way.
And it's like a tub where she takes a bite out of it. It's like the size of a pizza, but it's like calcium, like chewing, and just chalky all over. And Goldblum just like winks and points at the
them
camera.
in like side by side bathtubs doing the tandem bike, and we're gonna keep it that way.
Goldblum's for when you absolutely, positively don't want to have Jeff Goldblum's baby. We're gonna get sued one of these days. One of these days we're gonna get. We should write and make that sketch and have like somebody who doesn't look at all like Jeff Goldblum just wear the outfit from Jurassic Park, and people will get it.
Yeah, do the glasses, do the hair.
Yeah, people will get it.
They will. I mean, I just used a herpes commercial to make a Jeff Goldblum birth control. So we're really aiming. We have the highest of highbrow comedy here on Dissecting the 80s.
This is a very intellectual podcast. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that.
NPR is picking us up.
With us today on our show is Jeff Goldblum, who is pitching his latest product, Jeff Goldblum birth control pills. Now, Jeff, this is specifically for women who have sex with you and no other men, right? You are so virile that you needed to go into business for yourself and make your own pills? I'm Terry Gross. This has been Fresh Air. So she goes outside and they're like working on the spaceship.
And her neighbor is painting them.
Yeah, it's really delightful. It's very cute. And she is like, oh, I'm going to make you guys pancakes, which is a really well put piece of character development because not a day ago. Well, okay, let me rephrase. In a movie with a movie that didn't take place in 28 hours would be a great piece of character development because yesterday when she was in the kitchen making lunch for them, when she was like, oh, here's your all natural Pop-Tart, she went to make pudding and was like, oh, add water? Ugh, too much work. And then today she's making pancakes from scratch. So they're already causing personal growth for her.
Mm-hmm. We got to make
arc.
it seem like they're in love somehow.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
not just because they're married.
So she gets a phone call from the deadbeat boyfriend who's like, I need you to take care of me. And that's where I'm like, okay, you have gotten so many red flags. That is a red flag that you could
That
see
is
from
taking
space.
a tour
That
of the
one.
red plant factory, of the red flag factory.
Like, come on. You need to take care of me? This guy sucks. And he doesn't even have sex with you. Get rid of him.
He's the worst.
So Michael McKean's character comes over and they got the ship up
her
and running.
pool guy can just show up whenever he wants into her backyard with a beer. Like,
So
what?
I thought that you're totally right. For some reason in my head, they had talked about like, I need you to drain the pool and then come back and fill it. But they definitely did not.
She says the water feels funny. So
Yeah.
there's like discussion about the water feeling funny or whatever. So maybe the implication was come back and refill it, but that was never discussed. But
Yeah,
he also doesn't come
definitely
back
not.
with tools. He just shows up with a beer in his hand.
Yes.
And it's like, hey,
but
bros.
I will say that I want this Michael McKean character to be in every movie we do till the end of time. Like,
God.
Could you imagine putting this in? Like, Dr. Loomis is like, Michael Myers has been here, and he's like, hey, bro, we just got to go to the beach, catch some tasty waves, a couple of brewskis, and some babes, and we'll be set, man.
You don't
What?
know how much money I would pay to watch him in his trench coat and bandage head and full suit on a surfboard winning the surf competition. Like it's a blank check to how much money I would pay.
Watch me hang 10, bros.
Ripco.
That was a tasty wave.
But like, so like he's out there surfing in the full getup, trench coat, all. He like
Dress shoes,
everything. Wipes out, glitz back on the board. He does like a fist pump cheer. The crowd is cheering for him. In the crowd is Michael Myers.
I knew you were going there. Yes.
He gets crashed by another wave, comes out of the water. Michael Myers is gone. It's just your imagination, Donald. Is it?
Michael's in the water on a surfboard.
It's more like we're on fire. This is a really funny episode. I'm just gonna say it out loud.
If there was an award show for the stupidest riffs on obscure references that could only land for like 6 people, we would have so many awards.
We would sweep. This is just our new sampler.
just all
Listen
Loomis.
to Earth Girls Are Easy. It's a good sampler.
Oh, sweet Jesus. And wait, and Michael McKean is watching this all happen from the beach too.
Yeah.
He's just taking
He
it
and
all
Jamie
in,
Lee
and he's like,
Curtis.
"Whoa, yeah." I've never seen surf like this in Haddonfield, Illinois.
Okay, back to this movie, because we're an hour and 20 in, and we're gonna talk longer than the movie was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Jeff Goldblum goes in to tell Gina Davis he's in love with her, and he hears her ask the question, "I love you," or she's asking her her shitty fiance, "When was the last time you said I love you, I need you, I'm crazy about you?" But he just hears the end, so he thinks she's saying that to him. So he runs away from this movie for about 20 minutes.
Yep. So they get to the beach, and they're
They
going
never
to
make
the-
it. They trick you.
Sorry,
They trick you.
Well, they go to the beach in song only because they're like, oh, what's the beach like? And then it cuts to the best friend character doing like blondes are the best, and it's a blondes contest.
I'm a
on the
slutty
beach.
blonde is basically what the song is.
Yeah. Cut to they're at a gas station and a little kid points a fake gun at Damon Wayans.
And
who
I
sticks
forgot
his
fake
finger in
guns
it.
didn't used to have orange tips.
I don't know when that happened, but I think it must have been around the time of Die Hard because that's like a major plot point in Die Hard. You know, I shot a kid.
Oh, right.
So I think that the turnover was like right around this time where we finally were like, hey, it would probably be wise to make it look like children aren't playing with actual weapons.
That's true.
But immediately, this is like a literal Chekhov's gun where you're like, oh, this is about to cause a huge problem for these characters.
Yep. And then, okay, what's the guy's name? The surfer dude, the actor's name? Michael McKean. So he said, basically the flow of this scene is that he said, hey, I'll pick you up some babes right now. I know babes everywhere. Let's go to the beach. And they're like, okay. And so they go to the beach and goes, got to make a pit stop. Since I'm getting the gas, you guys should get the sandwiches and the beer. And I was like, A, in the 80s, this is not a fair trade-off. And B, they didn't ask to come to the beach with you. That is a thing that's like, we all agreed, hey, let's have a beach trip today. You know what? I'll
Yeah.
pay for gas and you pay for snacks. Like,
Yeah.
you don't spring that on, like, hey, I'll take you to the beach and find you babes. Oh, by the way, buy me snacks and beer. No.
Yeah, not a fair trade. Not a fair trade. Although he does do all the driving, which you can't cut that out. It is his car, you know.
He invited them.
At least I'm just saying in terms of the value betwixt sandwiches and beer vis-a-vis gasoline.
$10 of gas.
Yeah, it was like the sandwich and beer probably didn't cost significant. You got to remember, this is pre-craft beer. We're drinking Busch Light.
Well, I'm paying 3 sandwiches and maybe a case, like a 24-pack.
Yeah.
I guess that would be equatable.
It's close to $10 a head, I'm guessing, all told. But anyway, they go in and they're like, hey, we need bread. And the guy immediately misinterprets that as money because Damon Wayans is carrying a pistol. And he starts just like handing them stuff. He's like, here, have some M&Ms, take a candy, do it. Please don't hurt me.
Take everything.
At this point, Lady Gaga drives into the movie in a pink Corvette.
I thought this was Amanda Lepore.
I don't think I know who that is.
She's like a big in
It
the...
sounds like a porn star.
I don't know that she's... maybe she's done porn. I'm not sure. I know she's a kind of a gay cultural icon. She's big into plastic surgery and such.
Well, it looks like Lady Gaga. It's a pink Corvette, and
Our
her
Lady
outfit
of
is
Divine
ridiculous.
Gaga.
And she's wearing these ridiculous sunglasses, and she starts like talking to Damon Wayans and Jim Carrey, who need to get out of the way, and instead they smash into her car and then smash into the gas station and wreak all kinds of havoc before driving away, all set to the B-52s, which is just like the perfect song choice.
Oh, and at this point, Jim Carrey is now wearing boob glasses. Because, sure.
Well, look, we had gone a bunch of minutes without being misogynistic at all, so we had to make up for that.
That's true. There's also what I think is too long of a sequence. Like, I was actively not entertained by the fact that those two don't know how to drive.
Yeah, I didn't. It seems stupid, especially with like two guys who are capable of handling a spaceship, like that they couldn't intuitively understand how to operate a car. Earlier they were driving a spaceship, and
It's also, I think, too late in the movie for this. Like,
Yes.
this needs to be one of the first things that happens when they crash land on Earth.
yeah, agreed. And it's this like really, really long sequence of like driving the wrong way on the highway and falling out of the car and like doing
Driving
wacky
with
stunts.
his feet.
Yeah, and then eventually they end up and they leap off the highway and it's like this really tight shot and they start zooming out and I'm like, I bet they're in the middle of Randy's Donut. And sure enough,
Oh, I
right
thought
in
they
the
were on the
middle of
beach.
Randy's Donut. Oh, you thought they were on the beach?
I was like, oh, they're going to be on the beach now.
That would have been much more clever. Mm-hmm. If it was like they landed on the surf contest and people were like, whoa, bodacious, dude.
Exactly.
Those were some sick car stunts, brah.
You almost sound like
Pound it
Voldemort.
out.
What?
You're very close to Voldemort. You're Donald.
Lumort.
You're Donald
Lumort.
Pleasance and you're
I'm
Voldemort.
Lumort. I'm Lumort. Look, Loomis and Voldemort are very close, as is Dumbledore. They're all in the same in the same neighborhood.
That's true. Yeah.
Harry Potter, Michael, Harry. You're a stab wizard, Harry.
So Jeff Goldblum decides it's time to come back into the movie and runs up as the policemen are filing the report, and the pool guy is calling Gina Davis to say, hey, your friends, there's no reason for him to call Gina Davis. I'm just going to say that out loud right now. He just calls Gina Davis for no reason to be like, hey, your friends, I took them to the beach.
They stole his car.
But doesn't seem like why he called her.
Oh, I thought he was just slow in getting to it because he's a major burnout.
Oh, I guess maybe. So Jeff Goldblum shows up and is like, oh, and so he's telling Gina Davis where he is, and they stole his car, and the woman whose car that we've referred to as Lady Gaga and Amanda Lepore, her name is actually Angeline. She's apparently a singer of some kind.
Could have fooled me.
I couldn't tell her apart. Decides that those two are the men who robbed her, even though Jim Carrey and Jeff Goldblum not alike. Damon
No,
Wayans,
not even a little bit.
Damon Wayans and Jeff Goldblum absolutely not alike. But like
No.
Jim Carrey and Jeff Goldblum, no. But the police tackle it because the police go, "Are you sure?" And she says, "I don't know." And they're like, "Good enough for me. Tackle him."
Yeah, this is when we finally get the cops being the cops that you expect in a bad movie like this.
Yeah. So Gina Davis shows up and is like, "You have to let him go." Then or take me too. And they're like, "You didn't do anything wrong." So she picks up the bumper that they knocked off a car and smashes the police car with it and is like, "Now I did."
Yeah, it's pretty wonderful, and I wish she smashed it a little harder, but it's still pretty delightful. Mm-hmm. Also, in the cop car is an air freshener that says "Tight butts drive me nuts."
God, I hate everyone in this movie.
Like, that is so inappropriate. Like, the police station should have many words to say about this. But let me
Decent
tee this
human
up for
beings should have many things to say.
you. Sir, let me tee this next one up for you, if you please. If you, paging Andrew to the on-deck circle, if you please would join us in the on-deck circle. Play his walk-in music, maestro.
It's just
Jeff
a RuPaul song.
Goldblum... Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis in the back of this cop car, and she's like, hey, give them the love touch, and I'll hit on them, and we'll get our way out of this. And he's like, you want to have sex with them? She's like, no, I'm going to, like, feminine wiles. It's a whole thing to explain, but just do
Here
it.
on
and, like, we'll be
Earth,
fine.
here on Earth, we can seduce our way out of things and not follow
Yeah.
through.
So he touches the first cop on the neck, and wouldn't you know it,
He's gay, and I'm talking.
and he talks
all
like
caps.
this.
Yeah, I'm talking all caps, rainbow glitter, marquee lights, gay. Like, painful. Like, Hollywood in mannequin, painful. There was not enough surface area on my eyeball for the level of eye roll I needed.
But, like, the difference is the character of Hollywood is allowed to be a person, right? Like, he has a whole character beyond just the fact that he is gay. It is
Sort of.
still offensive. And I'm not, believe me, I'm not, like, I'm not
Mansplaining.
going to the mat for Hollywood. I'm just saying, like, that character has, like, some stuff to do in that movie that's important to the plot, and he does things that aren't just, like, for lack of a better word, flounce around, right?
Yeah.
These cops are the worst example of just pure shitty stereotype nonsense.
They fall in love instantly. They're like limp-wristed in the back seat, cuddled, talking about moving in together. And I was like, I just can't. I can't. I'm so mad that there was a time when that was okay. Like, that was like,
it's
sure,
so
good
shitty.
enough.
Yeah. And, like, clearly there's supposed to be some level of the writer thinks it's clever, like these two have had this, like, unrequited thing for each other, but it doesn't play that way at all.
It's
it
never
plays
been
the
established.
worst way. Right.
If it had been like hinted at before, and because these are the same cops we've seen like twice now, two or three
Yeah.
times now, like
Yeah.
hint at it, build
Yes.
to this.
If you had, like, two little moments where, like, the one left his hand and the other one's shoulder a little too long and they both kind of looked at it and, like, pulled away, like, set this up for me and I'll let you have it. But you can't just be like, oh, and now they're fabulous and they're, like, the shittiest gay stereotypes possible.
Yeah, that's garbage.
Fuck you, movie.
That's
Fuck
garbage.
you, movie. So they go to the hospital, and meanwhile, Dr. Love has discovered that these guys have two hearts, and so he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be the richest man in the world. I'm gonna be on the cover of Time magazine on the Today Show, and blah blah blah." Meanwhile, Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum kidnap a nurse and get her to take off her clothes.
It's the nurse who her fiance brought home.
See, I thought it was, but she doesn't acknowledge that at all, and
Yeah, she
I
does.
wasn't sure. She says, I don't want to be involved in your kinky sex games, but I guess that was just... I guess I just missed it.
I assumed that was her talking about it.
But my big problem with this is she makes this woman strip, and it's, like, very gross. Like, they shoot it in a very gross male-gazy way. But Gina Davis steals her outfit, but not her nurse hat.
No, I mean, Gina Davis already has like a headband on, so...
No, but Gina Davis wears a doctor, like, operating room scrubs hat.
Maybe because they're going into an operating room?
But she could have, like, it wouldn't. Take the outfit from the like this is a very standard thing. You take their whole outfit, not just like a
let her
piece.
keep the hat.
Where did the hat come from?
I don't know.
didn't like
Where did Jeff Goldblum's outfit come from?
Yeah, well, just scrubs.
Um,
So they go into the operating room where he's got these two guys laid out on a table and is like getting ready to, I guess, dissect them or something. It doesn't
like,
really make sense.
He gave them a syringe full of something that didn't look good.
But then they're both like totally awake.
They were like, guys, we got 5 minutes left. Let's just wave a lot of hands. Come on.
Also, I think this is the first movie we've done that has said the word dissect in it.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, it's into our 4th season before that happened. So they use some trickery to convince him that not
All
only...
of a sudden, they can control technology?
I don't think it's that they control technology. I think they can just make the sounds.
Well, no, it looked like they were messing with the lights and stuff.
I know, but like most of it was sound-based, so it was very confusing for me.
Yeah, that's true.
And so he like panics and runs out of the hospital.
They give him a nervous breakdown, which he is
Yeah.
a monster, so whatever. You get what you deserve.
I'm all right with it. Yeah. So they run out of the hospital, and he like comes chasing after, and he's like, "Look, I've changed. Let's go to Vegas and have a quickie wedding. You know, let's do this. Let's get
After
married
she's
right now."
piled the aliens into the back of his car, and she's like, "Get down, I'll hide you."
Yeah.
And he doesn't notice them on the whole drive home.
Yeah, it's insane. And then they like jump out of the back of the car without anyone noticing, so they can like run to their spaceship and get there before they do. It's like a very Ferris Bueller like running home to beat the parents montage thing.
But not done as well as it should be.
So
And
she sneaks out and
she
she's
puts
like,
on, her outfit is insane.
"Yes, it is."
It's like gothic Lolita baby doll in the 80s.
Yeah, it's really quite goofy. But she realizes they're leaving, and she runs out to say goodbye. And so she says goodbye to Damon Wayans, and then she turns to Jim Carrey, and she's like, "I'll miss you least of all."
I
with all
loved
sincerity.
that joke. I was like, "Come
Yeah.
on, Wizard of Oz throwback."
Yeah. So Ted comes out and is like, "What's happening?" And she's like, "They're aliens. Oops." And Jeff Goldblum can now throw the love touch. He doesn't have to touch people. He can just like shoot it out of his hands like a gun.
Sure.
And he love touches them, and they start kissing. And then she suddenly like bursts up, and she's like, "Wait, no, I don't love him. I need you, Jeff Goldblum. I need you."
And
So-
he maneuvers the spaceship down to pick her up, and then Candy comes in, and I was like, "Oh, good, Candy's coming too." It's just gonna be like the five of them having like a party, like
Yeah.
a space RV, and then they leave her behind.
Yeah, they don't take Candy.
I was so mad.
She tries to throw a margarita, and it hits Michael McKean, who's drunk on Gina Davis's front lawn for some reason, or
Unexplained.
backyard rather. And he like watches the spaceship and is like, "Whoa, tubular." But yeah, it's really weird that they leave the friend behind. Like, she's totally on board to want to go with.
And to bone Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I think he was like, "Nah, I'm good. Bye." So Gina Davis leaves Earth, and happily ever after, I guess.
I don't know. There's not a lot to go off of. We can assume.
The two of them have known each other for like 50 hours.
It always annoys me when stuff like that happens. I'm like, you don't like, I've literally never bonded with anyone in any sense that quickly.
But like, it's also so easy to fix this. Like, you just make the stuff where they're learning about Earth a week or two montage. Like, it's not a complicated thing. It's a movie. You just put the fast forward into it.
Yeah, it should have been, she kicks him out. He goes off on he was like, fine. She's like, go on your retreat or whatever. Like, go on a doctor's retreat. He's gone for a whole week, which gives her the house with the aliens alone, which gives you the time. Just like, write it in, guys.
Yeah, it would be easy to fix this. What are your final thoughts?
I don't even know. It's like weird, but it's, I mean, it's if you have HBO, it's currently on HBO Go at the time of recording, October 16th. It's worth a free look. It's only an hour 40. It's not that bad.
It's actually under that because it has a pretty long credit sequence on both ends. It's close to like an hour and a half of actual movie.
An hour if you take out musical scenes.
Yeah, if you fast forward all the musical numbers. Although I will say I enjoyed watching most of the musical numbers. Like, they're not good, but I enjoyed the insanity of them.
My problem with them was that there weren't. It's gonna sound weird. So there weren't enough. Like, it felt like an afterthought. Like, oh crap, our movie's not long enough. I don't know, make 3 songs. Because I was like,
I'm with you.
if you're gonna make a musical movie with like full on song and dance numbers, like do full on song and dance numbers. Because between Gina Davis saying she wasn't going to, she was like, between Gina Davis's song after she finds out her fiance is cheating on her, and the blonde friend on the beach song, there's no singing in between.
Right. It is very strange to go that quickly in that direction.
Because it opens with two songs in 20 minutes.
Yeah, it does. I like the movie up until the part with the car chase. Like, that's where it lost me. I was really,
I
like,
agree.
for the most part, enjoying it. And then the third act of this movie is kind of a mess where it just, like, everything happens in fast forward and you're just, like, trying to get to the end, which, you know, is an apt metaphor for how we do this show sometimes. But yeah, like, Gina Davis is really good in it. It's a fun Jeff Goldblum.
It's well performed, like across the board. I find it very
Absolutely.
well performed.
Yeah, it's not a mess like a lot of things we do. It just is kind of weird, and like you hit that terrible spot with the cops, which is frustrating, and then, you know, obviously the general women have no agency nonsense of this movie is not great. Although Gina Davis does get to make life decisions, however rash and crazy they might be.
They just involve men, all of them.
Yeah. It's not as over the top silly as you would hope a movie about 3 aliens coming to Earth to meet babes would be.
Yeah, I wanted a little more let's lean into the stupidness of like 50s and 60s movies. Like, I wanted like a teen beach surfer movie from the 60s that had aliens in it.
I would be much more into that. I think that's a great idea. Someone should make that movie now, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah, somebody out there, if you're listening, make that movie.
Gidget goes out of this world.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. We really appreciate it, as always. If you want to get more from us, you can visit dissectingthe80s.com. that has everything you could ever possibly want to know about the show, including a Hall of Fame, which Andrew is now 2 years behind on. I'm hoping that if I shame him enough in public on the thing, he'll just like eventually do the thing he needs to do. But, you know, we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. We hope Thor Ragnarok is good and that you all enjoy it. It came out the Friday before you're hearing this, so hopefully it was a big smash hit and wonderful. If you want to get in touch with us, you can call us at 856-DISSECT. That's our phone line. You can email us at dissectingthe80s@gmail.com. Social media, it's at Dissect the 80s on Twitter and Dissecting the 80s on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. We had some folks chime in recently. I always love to hear from you, what you're watching and listening to. We got another request to revisit the world of Magnum PI. The Magnum PI heads are a very vocal fan base, and I think that's really awesome. So thank you all for getting in touch. We're sorry we picked such a dud. Our next episode will be dropping on November 20th, and we are doing our annual celebration of America's sweetheart Tom Hanks and celebrating Thanksgiving our favorite way as T. Hanksgiving. We will be tackling the Tom Hanks classic The Money Pit, which is about him fixing up an old house that's busted up. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to say this now. If any of you guys know Tom Hanks and you want to put us in touch with do an interview, like please get us in.
We're gonna use up our plea for a celebrity with Tom Hanks.
I mean, that's a pretty big get.
I don't know. He's not the first '80s celebrity. I'm I would rather if Dolly Parton. I would rather get Dolly Parton.
But Dolly Parton is a less. I mean, I like Dolly Parton, but Dolly Parton is less.
Are you about to besmirch America's sweetheart Dolly Parton?
I'm just saying, between Tom Hanks and Dolly Parton, you're really going Dolly?
And I say we're really going David S. Pumpkins?
Yes. It's like anyway. So if anybody knows him or has an address
or Dolly Parton, it's a twofer.
Well, see, I was getting to the end of my bit where Tom Hanks really likes typewriters. So I could type him up a letter. I'm just saying, if anybody's out there and could put us in touch, I'll type Tommy Boy a letter, and hopefully that comes to fruition. But yeah, we are looking forward to that. Thank you again so much for listening. I have been Trip Lano.
I've been Dr. Loomis.
And I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until November 20th.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.